Hi, and welcome to another episode of Delaware County Political News, Meet the Elected Official. Today we are here with Representative Brian Kirkland. Thank you for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
For those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, can you tell us a little bit about what you did in your other life before you were elected?
Yes, and previously, before I took office of state representative, I was the predecessor of the former state representative in the 159th district, Thaddeus Kirkland, which is the current mayor of Chichester. I was the director of constituent affairs, and I operated and ran his Marcus Hook office. I've been doing that for about the past 11 years before I came in this position. I'm a single father of a beautiful 12-year-old little girl. I come from a very religious background. I'm a deacon at Community Baptist Church, also where I run a couple youth groups there. So just in a nutshell, I love the kids. I love to be around the kids, love to work with the kids. That's one of my passions. All of my family is from here in Chester. My mother, she's a doctor of education. She was a former principal. She currently, along with my father, they run an after-school program right here in the city of Chester. So we're pretty in tune with everything that's going on. We're out here working hard, and just not me, just the entire family come from a real good base and a real good grounding.
You've been a state rep for the better part of a year. Is the role what you thought it would be, and what are the duties?
I mean, every day it's a challenge. Since I'm new, everything it's not what I thought it would be. I mean, I really can't predict the future, but every day you face a challenge. Every day you face a different obstacle. But some of the duties definitely are including, like, just legislatively making sure that my district is placed in the forefront, that there's no legislation that would hurt us or deter us in any way, whether it be the working citizens, whether it be our seniors, our veterans, and ultimately is just to be engaged with the public, to be visible and attend, whether it's school board meetings, whether it's different events that I hold throughout, just to hear people's concerns and just to be out there so they can have a dialogue with their state representative.
Representative, what got you interested in running for political office?
Well, I've been in this life for about the past 11 years, and honestly, to be quite frank with you, if you would have asked me about 2 or 3 years before I even stepped into office, I never would have thought that, this is where my life would have took me. But one thing I always had was a passion for the people, helping people, and my resume just completely shows that. I love the kids. I love just being around people, and anybody that I can help, whether it be through someone just on the street in passing or what I'm doing now legislatively, like, it's just something that that I really enjoy doing.
What conflicts have you been dealing with, and what are ahead?
Some of the conflicts that I deal with, as we are in the minority out in at the Capitol. So some of the conflicts that I deal with, I guess, dealing with that alone is just some of the legislation. Sometimes it can be frustrating to get some of the agendas through to the other side, but I will say that for the most part, we are all on the same page as a Democratic Party, so we do have a voice out there. And but as far as the conflicts, that's one of the things that I face. But I've seen us overcome some of the challenges that were presented before us.
Being in the minority party, what things have you been able to accomplish, or do you plan on accomplishing, even though you're in that minority?
I guess I'll just start by saying getting the budget passed. I mean, it's been a long run with that. The deadline was obviously back in June. We just passed it a few weeks ago in October. That was my first budget as a freshman. But that's probably one of just the most obvious issues that I had to deal with, that we surpassed, and we got the governor's budget on his desk back for him to sign off on.
What did you like about it, and what did you dislike about it?
Well, pertaining to my district, it was a few high points in the budget. One, highlighting the money for the school district, for the Chester Upland School District. We were one of 50 school districts in the Commonwealth that received additional funding, and the exact amount was around about $2 million or so, which is, to my understanding, going to be reoccurring. Now, is that enough? I don't think that's enough, but it's a start. I think sitting in this seat, no one will ever say that they're satisfied with anything, because you kind of want everything for your district. To be kind of selfish way to speak, is something that, you know, that we have been constantly working on and pressing to the governor with certain issues that face some of the lower and impoverished communities. As far as some of the bad things that the budget didn't really address, that I kind of had some issues with, were one, the minimum wage. We definitely wanted to push the minimum wage. I think now it's at $7.25. I think the governor proposed to put it up to somewhere around $12 an hour, which would have brought a total amount of Pennsylvania workers to an additional $3.5 billion annually. So that was one of the things that I was pushing for and fighting for, and the fight is not over. We're currently working on legislation to try to get that back at the number, to help the people that are facing, you know, problems and issues with their minimum wage crisis.
What are some of the local projects that you're able to work on here? Things that you plan on getting done? Okay.
Some of the local projects, one of the things that I want to do, I get a lot of constituents here in Chester that say, hey, we used to have one of the biggest bands in the whole state. We used to have, because every year we have a Mother's Day parade. It's like a real big thing here in the city. And currently, they downsized the band. They cut the arts and the music programs out of our school district. So one of my things that I plan on doing is to bring back the band. Bring back the band. It's kind of like an identity for the city of Chester. That's one of the things I would like to do. We also have numerous other programs that we put in place, strengthening our after-school programs. I'm in constant talks with the University of Widener about getting assistance and maybe some help from their overgrads of coming in and kind of help educate our kids after hours, because just being around and involved with after-school programs, I see the difference that it makes tremendously in our kids' grades and in their spirit.
Representative, I understand that from speaking with Malcolm Yates that you're also working on a beautification of the Avenue of the Arts, a grant, you have a $150,000 grant to Washington Park, and you're also working on securing cameras for public safeties. Can you tell us about some of those?
Yes. Well, first, with the beautification of the Avenue of the States, we're working with Amtrak closely to get the train station repainted, a sign, beautified. When you come into the Chester Historical Downtown District, that's one of the first symbols that you see as you enter Avenue of the States. So that's one of the projects in conjunction with Amtrak that we're currently working on.
And the grant to Washington Park?
The grant to Washington Park, unfortunately, they had some damage to it. It was a storm that happened about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and that's one of the parks where a lot of people were showing interest in, you know, trying to get that back up and running. So I pushed for a grant and successfully got the grant to beautify that park once again. And
cameras for public safety.
And finally, one of my babies is the cameras for the public safety. Securing a grant for that to put cameras throughout the entire city of Chester in different phases in our neighborhoods. A lot of people ask for these cameras. I just want to make people safe, quality of life, quality of living, just to make people feel more safe. Catch some of these criminals that are out here committing these acts of violence. And I think that cameras would not only assist the police departments with apprehending these suspects, but also make people that live in the city feel safe again.
Chester's Avenue of the States appears to have thriving business, and on the same street of your office,
yes,
of course. What developments have occurred in recent history, and what future development is in the works?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you drove up Avenue of the States on the way to the office, and you can probably attest to some of the changes and how it's really booming right now. We have a lot of people coming in, investing back into the community, a lot of arts, a lot of businesses and restaurants, and people come in here actually willing just to invest and give back to the community, not just on Avenue of the States, but even just in the surrounding area. Currently right next to City Hall, right across the street from my office, We have a hotel that's coming. It should be done by next July. It's so many. We have a sneaker store that's also coming. It's Sneaker Villa with a group called Tandem Entertainment, and they're bringing in Sneaker Villa. So everything is really on the rise right now, and I'm so excited about what's taking place in our historical downtown district.
I know there's an art gallery, and I know there's a community theater. I know there's a cigar club for people who want to see theater, for any type of community event. Is there any type of website or source of information where they can find out what shows are playing or any other information like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can always go on the City of Chester's website, chestercity.com. You can always Google, we're in the world of this modern technology, you can always Google different events that take place at the art gallery. I know that most of the time we stay busy on the weekends. If you would have came in this district about maybe 5 to 10 years ago, it was kind of like a ghost town. But now everything is so much on the rise right now. We have a lot of traffic flowing in here for events all over the board that we have here now.
To what extent do you and Mayor Kirkland coordinate in getting things done here in the city of Chester?
Yeah, that's a good question, Larry. That's the beauty of this thing, being able to have a formal relationship and have someone that's my predecessor that, not also just gives me advice, but the way that we can work together well as far as the state and city government. There's a lot of ideas that we bounce off of each other, share transparency, and able to get certain things done that, in the past, we found our way maybe stuck in the mud a little bit, but now we're at the point where we're all on the same page, and there's things that we can coordinate as far as whether it's different programs we want to bring to the city. Everything just kind of comes in fruition together with us and our relationship.
What long-term plans and goals do you have for this administration?
Oh, well, one of the things that I want to do. I'm currently in the process of every week when I'm not in Harrisburg and I'm back here in my district, I take various meetings with different stakeholders within the community, and I want to make it clear I don't just represent the city of Chester. I represent the entire 159th district, which also includes 10 other municipalities and boroughs. But one of the focuses that in the future that I would like to do is absolutely always strengthen our education. That to me, that is the key. Give the kids a little bit more recreational events to participate in. Also, I mean, just the public safety issue here in the city is, we're kind of at that point where enough is enough when it comes to a little bit of the gun violence that we face. So a lot of things that I think may prevent that would be a lot of job opportunity. So there's so many different things that not only my office holds, but also the city of Chester holds, whether it's job fairs, and not just job fairs that everyone is not able to obtain. The job fairs that I host are job fairs if you have a felony or a misdemeanor. These job fairs that I bring into the city are for everybody.
How can people get more information about job fairs? For instance, how are they noticed?
Okay, well, my website, I have a website. You can go on there and find every information. I usually have them like twice a year. You can also go on my Facebook page, State Rep Brian Kirkland, and like I said, we do those twice a year, along with even the small things to even help you that might deter you from getting employment, as far as criminal expungements, driver's license, rehabilitation, like so on and so forth, things like that. But you can find all of that information on my Facebook page, State Rep Brian Kirkland.
Representative, you've mentioned that you are also the representative for more than just the city of Chester. You might not be surprised when I tell you that other people don't necessarily know who their rep is. Yeah. So what are the other small communities that you're responsible for?
That's a good question. Actually, one of the things that I implemented in my office going back maybe about 2 months ago, I brought in a individual. His name is Damon. He's the outreach coordinator, and one of his specific duties or to go around to identify different areas in my district to where I might not be as visible, and set up satellite stations, go door to door, give out information, take questions from constituents that normally wouldn't be able to see me on a day-to-day basis or might not have access to come to my office here in Chester.
So the different townships and boroughs of the 159th are as follows, are listed below your screen, correct?
Yes. And look for us coming to every single municipality throughout my district, whether it be right at your doorstep or future town hall meetings or a satellite office coming to a place in your community.
At the time of this filming, we are several weeks out from when 2 Democrats were elected to county council. Will their presence in media, in county council, help the citizens of Chester?
Absolutely. Just being in a state representative role, I've learned that the county has a pretty much significant amount of land and properties throughout the city of Chester. With no transparency. I mean, it's sometimes we get frustrated with trying to work closely with a cross-party, or just trying to get information. So I think with the 2 elected officials coming in at the county level will definitely give us some transparency, give us a voice out in the county, and ultimately give us someone to be able to work with and hopefully be able to do some things for the 159th Legislative District.
Representative Kirkland, we'll leave it there, and I want to thank you again for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
And Larry, I want to thank you too for having me and stopping in there.
Please be a guest again.
Oh, no problem. All right.